Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Holy Cross Band's Downbeat with Alumni, Catch You on Zoom, Divest from Fossil Fuels, Konnichiwa Bonsai, For the Love of God, James, Give Us an A, Choo Choo Rah Rah podcast. Here on the show, we take a look into the lives and achievements of college musicians who brought you the good time in different Holy Cross Band ensembles during their time in college. So today we are interviewing Emily Vogelsperger. Emily's from Elmhurst, Illinois, and graduated from Holy Cross in 2019 as a computer science major. She plays clarinet, alto, and tenor sax and has participated in the Good Time Marching Band, pep band, jazz ensemble, orchestra ensemble, and wind ensemble, where she was the quartermaster. She has led our band intramural teams, has served as the librarian and recruitment manager on her time in E-Board, and was awarded the Rising Star Award her first year and the Reverend Francis J. Hart Intramural Participant of the Year Award for her work with intramural teams during her junior year. She's done a lot, even outside of her previous affiliations with Grubhub. She's currently a software engineer at PTC in Boston. So thank you for being here, Emily.
Yeah, thank you. That was a long list of things.
What can I say? I didn't write the script. This is all you.
Yeah.
So to start off, I like to talk about with our guests what I like to call their humble beginnings. So, humble beginnings, how would you describe your music career from when you started up until now?
I would say unexpected and very lucky. For instance, I when my mom asked me if I wanted to play an instrument, I told her I wanted to play the banjo. She she went to look for a banjo, couldn't find one, and the nearest lessons were an hour away. So I was like, all right, I can't do the banjo, I'll do the trumpet. And then she came home with the clarinet. So started out very upsetting. The first clarinet lesson I went to, I cried the entire car ride there and back.
How old were you when this
I
happened?
was 9. Shouldn't have been crying at that age, but
Crying because you were
oh
playing the
well.
clarinet?
Yeah, and I didn't want to. But look at me now, playing the clarinet for a very long time, and honestly would not have changed it. I met some of my best friends who were also clarinets by sitting next to them. But yeah, so started out very upsetting. And then I went to a middle school that didn't actually have a band. So the first time I played band was in high school. And my high school band, it was not very dedicated at all. So there were like a couple people who were like really into it. And then like the rest of the band was just not, they didn't really like music. They were there for like the fine arts credit or whatever. Uh, but when I got to college, that's probably when music really started becoming a really big deal for me. Uh, so yeah, definitely Holy Cross, and I think just being around a bunch of people who actively chose to be in music really helped form me as a musician today. Because it started out with me crying, and it's ended with me crying when I left Holy Cross Band. So, book ended by crying.
Very tearful journey.
Yeah, I probably should have said tearful.
We're going to cry at the end of the interview?
Maybe, if it gets to that.
So, I'm sorry if this brings any tears, but looking back on everything in life, music or not, who are the people that have inspired you the most in life?
Yeah. So I think probably the number one is my mom, just because I'm the oldest of 6 kids. So I come from a very large family, and my mom has always had to juggle all of us, plus be her own person, plus like still, clean the house and stuff. So I was also homeschooled for, I want to say like 6 years. I don't know exactly, but very long time. And she did all of that on her own. So she's a very hard worker. So definitely my mom. And also, this is strange to say, but our previous director, Dr. Riley, is definitely up on that list, just because he was such a good example of someone who just always put his best foot forward and was always very put together, very much like he got all of his things done. Like he was always 100% prepared and ready for literally anything. And that is something that I really look up to. And he got things done, which was cool. But yeah, so those are honestly the two people who have made some of the biggest impacts in my life. Which the cliche one is my mom, but but definitely Dr. Riley.
Sorry, Alan. Just because he's right there, I just wanted to say.
Yeah.
She graduated as a computer science major.
Yeah.
So, as a computer science major, why participate in music ensembles at all? Why put your time towards that when it maybe doesn't have the strongest correlation to your primary academic focus?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Because also, as you did mention in the beginning, I was also recruitment manager at one point. And that was one question that we got a lot, which was, can I handle this? Or I think I have too much work. I can't do band. So I'm just not going to do anything or join anything. Which I, not just as a recruitment manager at the time because I was biased, but also just in general, I don't think that's a very good idea, because as what Holy Cross is at its core is education that's meant to create a well-rounded person. And I think there's no single human being at Holy Cross who would like you, not even your professors, who want you to only do math, computer science, English, and that's it. I guarantee you. So I think it's very important to always at least have one hobby, because it's a really good thing to, it's a really good thing to pour yourself into something else that's unrelated to school, and also B, let loose a little bit. And music is a really good way to let loose. So at least for me, this hobby could be different for anyone, but at least for me, music was important to me for such a long time that I was like, this will be my let loose hobby. So for me, it was pretty easy because it was like, obviously this, but yeah, I think if anyone is going to college and they think that they don't have time for anything or can't do anything or shouldn't do anything because they should just focus on school, I think they need to find at least one thing that meets even just once a week, because it'll help you just overall with mental health and also just like personal well-being and just fun. So for me, that's why I think I did music, just because it was something that I've always done, and also just I needed something that's unrelated to school. As everyone does.
Absolutely. You've taken on several different positions and you've won 2 awards related to work you've done. So with that said, after all this time, what is leadership to you?
Yeah, so very intense question. Because I think obviously this is something that's very important, especially nowadays. But at least for me, what I've always felt like what's very important that I think in a leader is listening and being able to listen. Because I think a leader is someone who isn't just someone who says like, hey guys, let's go that way. That a leader is someone who is able to listen to people and be able to pivot if they need to. Because I think a lot of people assume that a leader is someone who just knows what to do. But to be honest, no one's infallible, first of all. And second of all, things change. So I think it's one of the best traits a leader can have is being able to listen and then change their mind or change what they're doing, or pivot is probably the best word. So yeah, I like, other than that, I feel like honestly listening is the most important thing according to me. But yeah.
Is it okay for leaders to cry?
Yeah. Everyone cries. spooky if they didn't.
Also, yeah.
We might have a robot leader, and then that would be the end of the world. So.
So when you look back at your time at Holy Cross now, what memories will come to you first?
Honestly, the times that I spent either like in between sets at rehearsal when I was goofing off with people, even though I shouldn't have been when I was goofing off with people, and also times that I spent with my really close friends in their dorms and had like small get-togethers and stuff. Because I think the thing that I liked most about Holy Cross, and I feel like most people also agree with this, is obviously the people, and just being able to be with some of my favorite people like all the time was really awesome. And yeah, like being able to study with them, hang out with them, and also go to band practice with them. So really, when I think back about Holy Cross, I think about uh, the times that I spent with all my friends who I still am close with today, which is really nice. And also being able to study in really, really nice buildings, because I miss that, honestly. So.
Just a sec. Okay, sorry.
No worries.
Keeping up with the memory train, what's the story behind spending 24 straight hours in O'Kane?
Yes. So this is more of a don't do what I did story. So I don't remember if this was my first semester freshman year or my second. Oh no, it was my first. It was fall semester. Now I remember, because I took I was trying to get rid of my cross-cultural requirement. And I found a class called World Music, and I was like, that sounds awesome. So I did that, and it was with Sharish, who is incredible, but also he's been there for literally so long that he's one of those professors that really doesn't need to try or do anything, and he's just like incredible. So the class was very low key. And the funny thing is, there was one seat left when I signed up. So I was the only freshman. It was mostly juniors and seniors. And there were 4 band seniors in it. I didn't really know them at all, but there were 4 band seniors in there. And so the class was very easy. And so, of course, I put off the final until the very end. And the final was a 10-page paper. And at the time, my friend group and I, we tended to, for finals, we would pick a room in O'Kane and study in that room all of finals every single semester. I forgot the number of the room, but it's in O'Kane. And so I decided that I was going to do that paper in one night. So I had spent all my time in that room the whole day studying for other things. And then that night, when all my friends left, I stayed and I wrote that paper all through the night, to the point where, like, I didn't see any human beings. At one point, like, I think around 2 a.m. or 3, the janitor came in and, like, got spooked that there was a human inside of that room, because it was, like, way too late. And then shortly after, one of the pub safe officers came and checked on me. But yeah, no. And then at like 7 a.m., my friend, now boyfriend at the time, friend at the time, boyfriend now, he tended to leave very early and then come back really early. So at about 7 a.m., he walks in and he's like, whoa, you're still here. And apparently I was pretty incoherent because I hadn't seen a human for like hours, other than the pub safe officer, who was like, you okay? So yeah, and then by the time I think I finished at like 10 a.m. or something, and that was when I had gotten there previously the other day. So by the time I finished the paper, I was in that room for 24 hours. And then I left and slept for a very long time.
How many hours before the due date did we turn it in?
Oh, like minutes. Don't assume it was ours, Dennis. Don't do what I did.
Honestly, I've already done. I have done what you've done.
Oh yeah, I mean and I mean, let's be honest, that was not my only all-nighter. No, that's a lie. I've done from that point. I think that was my only all-nighter, but other than that, I had done the same for 3 or 4 papers, but I had at least gone to bed at like 4 a.m. or 6 a.m. or something. So, yeah, I feel like everyone does it at some point, but I still need to give. Yeah, I still need to give the caveat of don't do that. And 10 pages really shouldn't have taken that long, but.
As a first year, 10 pages is pretty tough.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think as a first year, I was like, what?
Yeah. But as you go on, it's 10 pages.
Yeah, 10
still
pages,
a lot, but it's like
bang
nothing.
It out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
riding on that memory train, you worked in Grubhub for about a year.
For actually just the summer, but yes, it was very fun.
For the summer. So, during that summer, what's your favorite memory from working with Grubhub?
Yeah, so I think I will just, before I say my favorite memory for working at Grubhub, honestly, I think my favorite memory of Grubhub in general and my affiliation with it is the fact that the band got so obsessed with the fact that I work for Grubhub. And not gonna lie, I did mention it a lot, and I wore a lot of Grubhub swag that I took from the company. But it was still really funny when someone dressed up as me for Halloween and they just had Grubhub stickers all over them. Because I don't even work for them anymore. But anyways, my favorite thing at the company was probably so in the stairwell. So the Grubhub office is in a building in Chicago where I think like they own the top like 5 floors or something. I don't totally remember the exact number, but like we usually take the stairwell in between it because we're usually going up 1 floor or something, so you don't need that elevator. But in the stairwell, I started seeing like, for art pieces when they have the like title of the art piece and then the year it was created and then the like type of like material it was made with. So I started seeing those placards like at random places throughout the stairwell, and they were always next to trash. And I asked my manager, like, what is this? And he said that people keep were littering in the stairwell. So one of his coworkers, I guess my coworkers also, but one of our coworkers started making and printing out little placards of art and putting them next to the trash because they just weren't getting cleaned up. So like one of them was like a coffee cup that was like on like really high up in the stairwell, so it was literally called like Coffee Up High 2018 Mixed Media. And then another one was like almond on electrical box. And it was just one almond on top of it. And then 1 week they were all gone. It was really sad. But that is a memory that I will remember forever. And if I ever get the opportunity to reuse that joke, I will 100% do that because it is genius.
Were the placards only there for like the day, or did the placards survive the trash?
No, they were so the placards were gone once the trash was gone, but they were all like the trash and the placards stayed there for like, I want to say like a month. They were there for really they were there for the majority of the time. It was just like one day they were gone. So I don't know who decided that they needed to leave because I thought they were incredible. But apparently the trash was fine beforehand. But then after a month, someone was like, well, we got to clean this up now. So.
Like psychologically, by way of placing a placard near a thing of trash, do you think less trash showed up?
I mean, definitely there wasn't anything added to the stairwell. Like, it wasn't that bad in the stairwell. It was just like people would leave just like one coffee cup, or like it was like random pieces of litter that just like were sitting there for like maybe a couple days too long. So then he put the placards next to them. Mm-hmm. I think the placards being next to the trash made them sit for longer than they should. But at that point, they're art, so they shouldn't have gotten cleaned up.
That's right.
Yeah, they destroyed art.
You mentioned before that you didn't do marching band, let alone like a couple of ensembles seriously in middle school and high school. and college was your first time taking music more seriously, like
Yeah.
more seriously, and this was your first time in marching band, which you hold the distinction of because most of the alumni I've interviewed up until this point had some form of marching band experience in high school. So, as someone joining marching band for the first time in college, um, what made you end up joining?
Yeah, so I wish I could say that it was like I really wanted to try something new and I don't know, marching just seemed really cool. But to be completely honest, when I met with Dr. Riley at the Accepted Students Day, he told me how band works, which was in the fall we do marching band, then we like go into basketball and we do pep band, and then we have concert band. At that point, it was only concert band in the spring. We didn't have concert band all year long. That changed. But so when he told me that, I was very upset because my intention was joining pep band and concert band, and that was it. Because my high school had pep band, we did not have marching band, as you said. So I really did not want to join marching band, but because I really wanted to do something all year long, I was like, I guess I'll join marching band. So it was not. It was literally because that was the only musical option for me at the time. Now my opinion on marching band has changed. So, I mean, now obviously I'm really, really glad that I joined because one thing that, as recruitment manager, as again you probably know, one thing that me and my partner recruitment manager Colin had said at the time is that we were really worried about people who didn't do marching band and then joined for pep band because everyone gets so close in marching band that some people kind of get left out in pep band, and we really wanted to stress the fact that like marching band is where like everyone gets really close because you're together for so long and it kind of sucks and we all like we're all going through it together. So now I'm obviously incredibly grateful that I did it because I don't know. I'm not gonna say that this is a definite, but I don't know if I would have the same friends today if I didn't very reluctantly join marching band my freshman year just because there wasn't any pep band in the fall. So kind of a sad story, but turned out great.
Hey, that's what matters in the end, right?
Yeah.
No tears in this story either.
Thanks. Yeah.
I think you alluded to this a little bit, but what does marching band sound like from someone who hasn't done it? Like going up to
Yeah.
Dr. Riley telling you about marching band at the time. What did you think of the ensemble?
So not gonna lie, and I think this is really funny because I come from the Midwest, where apparently marching band is supposed to be gigantic in the Midwest. I didn't know that because again, my school didn't have it. I never saw a marching band. I was in a marching band before I saw a marching band, so that's another thing. And Dr. Riley is from Massachusetts, but he spent a
Yep. We
lot
went
of
to the
his
same high
time
school.
teaching. Oh, no way. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Bonkers. What? But yeah, so he's from Massachusetts, but he spent most of his teaching time in the Midwest, and that's where he did a lot of marching band stuff. So when he found out I was from the Midwest, he was like, "Oh, like you must know how big marching band is there." And I was like, "What is marching band?" So to me, when my impression of marching band before I joined was that it is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Why would anyone want to do that? Because there's no way that I can walk and play an instrument. That is impossible. That is absolutely not possible. On top of the fact that you have to wear terrible outfits. And I hate costumes. Like, to this day, despise costumes. I don't wear things for Halloween. I'm a party pooper in that aspect. But so to me, I like did not want to join marching band. Literally the only reason why I did it is because I wanted to be in something music related for the whole time. Yeah, marching band sounds like the worst possible thing anyone can do to someone who hasn't marched before. At least generally. There could be some people who are like, whoa, that sounds awesome. But for someone who was like classically trained and didn't had like has always sat and played before, to like add walking to that was like no. No.
What's your opinion of the marching band uniforms now?
So when I first put it on, I felt like the dumbest person ever.
What,
Now I really
Dibbers
miss
just
it.
weren't working for you?
Well, just the sequins and like the hat was just too much. Now I miss it, and I'm not gonna say that I like, if you made me put it on but I couldn't, like if you brought it to my apartment and told me to put it on, I probably wouldn't be too happy. But if you told me I had to put it on in order to like march with my friends again and like see everyone and be at Holy Cross again, then like I would definitely do it. But yeah,
I think
the
some band
sequins are
uniforms
interesting.
some band uniforms look better than others.
Yes, I've seen some very cool ones. I know some people disagree with this, but I think the capes are cool. I don't know if I would, if I don't know what they feel like, but when some marching bands have the capes and then they do like the, and I forgot all my marching band terms. This is going to be very bad for Dr. Riley and Dr. Jennings. When they see it, they're going to be very disappointed. But when you do the like really quick side turn, like, and then the capes go like whoosh, like I think that's really cool. But yeah, the sequins for the Holy Cross ones are an interesting choice, is what I'll say.
And I came from a high school band where the drum majors got capes, and I gotta say, wearing a cape is pretty fun. It is
confirmed. Wearing a cape is awesome.
Heard it here.
Yeah, heard it here first.
But have a lot of those opinions on marching band, like have they like taken a complete 180 since then?
I mean, yes and no. So like, I'd be lying if I said that I enjoyed marching band my whole time. I didn't really.
Right.
I really did it specifically because I loved the people in it. And I love playing music. Even if it's stands, tunes, and stuff like that. I just enjoy it. But honestly, like mostly the people. So, but I will say that it's a lot easier than I thought it was. I mean, like in like, not gonna say like, oh, marching's easy, but like it was. I really thought that there was no way that anyone could play and walk at the same time. Like that's impossible, especially like with the clarinet, because like you'll be bouncing and like that's difficult and stuff. But I will say that it was very fun to learn like the different, like when you nailed a marching move, like for instance, my favorite thing to do was do like a march forward and then a march back, because like when you executed that on time and like perfectly, it like felt really cool. And you felt like awesome, and I really do like marching backwards. I think it's like I don't know, for some reason I think it's fun, even though
It's like half moonwalking.
terrible. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
But a lot of people hate it because it's really hard. And
Yeah.
I enjoyed it because
You get good calves when you're from it.
yeah, exactly. And also just I really liked the like rolling forward and rolling back. I don't know. But so I think like it definitely was easier than I thought. Don't worry, people out there who haven't been in marching band before. You can walk and play music. It is something that I didn't believe, but you can. Again, you heard it here first. But so it definitely wasn't as bad as I thought, but it definitely wasn't my favorite thing either. And I think that's just because I didn't grow up being in like a really competitive marching band and having that same atmosphere. Because I've noticed with a lot of people who are in gigantic bands and the people who compete and the people who like, I don't know, take it like ridiculously seriously. Not that I necessarily didn't take it seriously, but the people who compete, I think is the main thing. They like have a like fervent love for marching band, and I definitely don't have that. And so I think it's just one of those things that like I'm really glad I did it, like, and I definitely wouldn't change anything, but I still think it's a little weird.
With that said, say you've taken on the recruitment manager role once again, or placing yourself in those shoes. What is your sell to any incoming first years who came from a similar music background as you, where it wasn't too serious in high school, and you're trying to get them to join the ensembles here, well, even outside of marching band? What's the sell?
Yeah, so I've done this a lot. But honestly, as I kind of mentioned it earlier, my sell is the fact that, at least specifically at Holy Cross, and I hate saying this because we're such a loving group, and it's not like we're like intentionally leaving anyone out, but it always, always, always happens that when someone says that they're not going to do marching band and they're going to do it later, or they're just going to do pep band and that's it, they just tend not to get as close as like with everyone else, because like since marching band is the first thing that everyone does and it takes so much time and we all move in a lot earlier than anyone else, just a lot of, we just get really, really close at that point, and it is a lot harder to have someone join that afterwards during pep band, because pep band doesn't take the same amount of time. Because with pep band, we only have 3 rehearsals the entire pep band season, and then the rest is at games, and it's really hard to like talk to multiple sections during games because you got to stay where you are. But like at least with marching band, like you're with the same group of people for like a week prior to school opening up, and like you eat with them and do everything together, and during rehearsals at least you can chat a little bit. So at least when I was a recruitment manager, I told people like I would really join marching band because I definitely I would have regretted it if I didn't do it. I know I jokingly said that I didn't want to join it, and that is definitely true, but I would have definitely regretted not joining, because I think just the atmosphere that marching band lends itself, which I think is, again, like practices every week where you can chat with people and it's like fairly lax and stuff like that, and you can move around to different sections. I think that type of atmosphere lends itself to more togetherness and just, getting to know everyone more. Also, the fact that we're so small, like pep band gets larger when we do pep band, concert band gets even larger than that. So just because of how tiny marching band is, and because it honestly, yeah, that's actually kind of funny. It's the smallest ensemble, but we spend the most time on it. And I really think that just because of that factor, even if you don't like marching, which is how I started out, even if you don't like marching, like the people and the friendships you will make are worth it to join marching band. I know some people might say that they're not, but like that is something that I tried stressing as much as I possibly could, which is, even if you don't like it, it's not as bad as you think it is. And just the people that you will meet and the friendships you will have and the camaraderie that you will like feel and witness and be a part of is well worth doing anything. So that was usually my spiel.
That's the sell, folks.
Yeah.
With the knowledge you have now, say you were a first year once again, but you still remembered everything you did before. But except this time, between marching band, wind ensemble, pep band, orchestra, and jazz. Got it.
Yeah.
If you could only do one, which one would you do?
So, no offense to orchestra, definitely not that.
Orchestra's fun.
No, orchestra's really fun, but it definitely, again, it's kind of like concert band where like you don't really talk to anyone else.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so like I wouldn't do that just because it doesn't have it didn't take up my time as much as the other ones did. Oh man, honestly, this is hard. It's a toss-up between marching band and jazz band, which hurts me to say because concert band is always my first love, and I think I know a lot of people know that. Just because that was, for a selfish sense, it was the thing I was the best at. So that's a selfish reason. Yeah, that's the selfish reason. But also just like that was the thing I had done. I mean, there's a reason why I was good at it. It was the thing I had done literally the whole time. So like, marching band, that was foreign to me. But concert band, like I knew that was something that I could do and I knew very well. Um, but even saying that, oh man, I don't know what I would pick because I think because jazz band is very, very important to me. Because I don't think a lot of people know this, but I should not have been let into jazz band. um, Mike Monaghan, the director of jazz band, is one of the sweetest human beings I've ever known in my entire life. I love him to death. So does literally anyone who meets him. Um, but I had a saxophone that my parents had bought me at the end of my senior year of high school because I had always wanted to double up on an instrument desperately, but it just didn't happen, which is hilarious because now my sister doubles up on flute and she's in middle school. So I'm like, what? Like, you couldn't have done that for me. But so they gave me a saxophone at the end of my senior year. But the thing is, I didn't really have any ensemble to play it with, so like it was kind of, and I wish I could say that I could play my saxophone on my own, but honestly, I was so busy that if it wasn't like a thing that I was actively doing, then I wasn't gonna do it on my own. So my saxophone kind of just sat there. Um, and then I heard there was an opening in jazz band, so I was like, I'm gonna audition because so many of my friends are in jazz band. I'm so sad that I can't be in it because that's where all my friends went on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So like there was no one to hang out with on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I was like, might as well just join jazz band. So I auditioned, and I definitely was the worst person who auditioned, and there were other people, and like could barely even play my saxophone. Like that's not an exaggeration. Um, but Mike still let me in, and that and he on top of Dr. Riley, Mike Monaghan and Dr. Riley both pushed me to do things that I would have never done on my own. Specifically, I owe a lot of that to Mike Monaghan because he knew that I was terrible, but he knew that I really, really wanted to join jazz band very badly. And I had never played jazz before. In fact, I hated jazz. Just because like what I explain to people is when you listen to it and don't know what jazz is like, you don't get it. Like it's just I don't like it. Sure, it sounds fine, but like why is this cool? But then once you learn what improv is and how much goes into improvising, now jazz is one of my favorite things to listen to because I can acknowledge how crazy some of like the talent is. So now I love jazz, but that's the reason why I didn't like jazz before is because I was like, oh, you're just like playing songs. But now that I know how much goes into improvising, it's like I get it now. But anyways, so like being in jazz band was weird. It was technically a very weird thing for me and definitely a no-brainer choice for Mike. He should have said no. But he let me in anyways, and he pushed me more than I think any other teacher, like musician or like person I look up to has ever pushed me before, because I think he just believed in me a lot more than I believed in myself. So honestly, despite the fact that marching band gave me so many things, like specifically so many of my friendships and my boyfriend, I would probably pick jazz band just because as a musician and as a person, it did so much for me to join something that I really shouldn't have been in, to grow as a musician in that, because now I'm average at the saxophone. Like I'm not like super good. I can barely improvise, like just barely. But it was really nice to go from being absolutely horrible to being able to play like pretty tough songs and being part of a jazz band that is insanely talented, and being able to kind of like bounce off the energy of these crazy talented musicians. And again, like I really didn't belong there, but like it was a fantastic opportunity that I really would not have been it wouldn't have been given to me if not for Mike Monaghan pitying me. No, I think he saw something that I didn't. So jazz band has a very special place in my heart for that reason. So probably jazz band, just because again, it shaped me as a person in so many very special ways.
All right, one last question, and this one's actually a curveball because I know I like to tell interviews, I told you beforehand that majority of the questions are about music. But this
Yes.
little pre-type, little pre-story before I tell you ask the question. But I have an oddly specific concert band memory from my first year where you walked in
Oh
with
no.
a full Blu-ray set of the complete Avatar: The Last Airbender series in concert band. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I know you're a fan. So last question. What is your favorite moment from the original series?
Uh,
It's now on Netflix.
why'd you do this to me? But
Yeah.
yes, I still have the DVD box set here. I do not remember bringing it into concert band, but I do. It's in my, or it's like on my TV table right now. Oh man. This is a very, very hard question. Although I have been rewatching it. Okay, favorite comedic moment is the happy mushroom, because that is
Nice.
so funny. Favorite, honestly, oh no, okay, I have an answer now. Okay, that's still my favorite comedic moment. But I think my favorite moment, just like overall, is honestly any scene from the Zuko and Azula go on vacation episode. That is
The
the
Ember Island
best
players.
episode.
Yep.
Yes. Or no, not the Ember Island players. I'm sorry. Because that's when they go see the play.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying
that's my mistake.
when, yeah, when Azula and
Different
Zuko
episode.
go on vacation to an island, so like close. But like when they try to be regular kids, that I think is just like the best. I like, because also that's the perfect episode because it has some really deep moments from like evil character, like it. So like it makes those
humanizes them.
characters, yeah, and it like gives them more depth, and it just gets very like intense regarding like certain themes, which is one of the reasons why I love that show because it's like happy, sad, and like approaches things from an adult standpoint, even though it's a kids show. But it is also one of the funniest episodes. So I think it's like the perfect one. But also the Ember Island players is also like hilarious. So yeah, I'm glad I had an answer because I was like, there's so many good ones.
This really, this reminds me from a moment from Kevin's interview. He, who's also anyone listening, he's also a comp sci major.
Oh yeah.
I asked my question for Kevin was, what are your top 3 favorite animes?
Oh god.
He like 8. He gave me like 8 answers.
I actually asked him the other day for anime suggestions. So
How many did he give you?
like 5. I mean, yeah. And this is coming from someone who has maybe watched 3, and 2 of those are like the big ones, like Attack on Titan, so like doesn't even count anymore. But that's really funny.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Emily, for taking the time out to do this. As per tradition, similar to what we do on the senior day football games, we add an additional subtitle to announcing Holy Cross Bands, in this case, the podcast. For Carrie, our first interviewee, she did Downbeat with Alumni. Andrea had Catch You on Zoom. Kevin had Konnichiwa Bonsai.
That was Kevin. Okay. I could guess all the other ones.
Rebecca had Divest from Foster.
Yeah.
Michael Shun had For the Love of God, James, give us an A.
Oh.
And Alan went with the classic Choo Choo Rah Rah. So this is your time. What additional subtitle would you like to add to the podcast name?
So I was originally gonna say give me an A because that was my thing.
Right.
But that has been taken. So I think instead I'm going to say
It's okay if you can't do it now, but
yeah, I'll can I do it later?
you can do it later.
Is that okay? I'm
Yep.
so sorry.
No worries at all. You're not the
I
first
literally
one, so it's okay.
noticed earlier that I was like, wait, someone said give me an A already.
All right. Well,
thank you for letting me do it later.
of course. Thank you, Emily, for being on the Holy Cross Bands. Catch up. I messed up. I messed up.
Really? That was the first time? No, I'm kidding.
Holy Cross Bands. Downbeat with Alumni. Catch You on Zoom. Divest from Fossil Fuels. Konnichiwa Bonsai. For the love of God, James, give us an A. Choo Choo Rah Rah podcast. Thanks for being here, Emily. For anyone listening, Follow Holy Cross Bands on the social media links.
Subscribe. And give us a like. Thanks, Dennis.
Kevin did the same thing too.
Oh, love it.
All right. Thank you for listening.